guys, welcome to Kim with Kim. I'm Kim, and today I really just want to talk about some things that are bothering me. There's a lot of things bothering me right now about the country. Things bothering me about the country. I try my best not to make this as personal, but all of these. Let's start with the mass deportations, right? Because there's a lot of conversation going on. There's a lot of things happening. There's the man that was wrongfully deported to El Salvador, and they can't get him back because America doesn't have the right to grab someone else from another country. They also didn't have the right to send him to that country with no trial. And I think that's my biggest thing is these mass deportations, one, are costing America so much money. America's already trillions of dollars in debt, okay? Now you're putting trillions of dollars more on all these efforts to work with the mass deportation. The money that's being used for this mass deportation could actually solve problems that Americans have. And it just really, like, to think that people are defending this, to think that people are like, yeah, get them out, or like Trump supporters are, saying things and supporting these ideas, but you don't see that a man was wrongfully deported and you can't get him back. And the craziest part is these mass deportations, you're not using anything involved with the due process of law. Because had that man gone to a courtroom, had you said, okay, you don't belong in the country, right? Anyone here, they're like, oh, you're an illegal immigrant. I don't even like that term, but you're here illegally. You put them somewhere, you arrest them, you put them in the proper jails here in America, and you put them through the process of going to trial and defending themselves. Because let's say, for example, your green card expired. They shouldn't be deported. First off, everyone here pays taxes. Whether you're a citizen or not, every good that you buy, you pay taxes on. Any service that you use, you pay taxes on. So whether you're here legally or not, you're paying taxes. You're putting a lot of money into this country. Immigrants more than anything, because they have to buy a lot more goods. And they get no assistance because they don't get to apply for it if they're here legally. Now, if you're here legally and you have a green card, boom, you have a social. If you choose to go through the process of naturalization, that's not an issue. But trying to take out that word naturalization for citizenship to confuse people, there are so many things that I don't even know if to call it an administration because it's a joke, but they could be focusing their efforts on. But instead, you want to take away money from kids' lunches and Social Security and Medicaid or Medicare, like hurting people who need those resources. The amount of money being spent on this mass deportation could solve those problems and not even put a dent into what is currently being spent. It's actually crazy to think of. And then when people are like, well, they were here illegally for years, why didn't they just become citizens? Why didn't they get before someone speaks on that, do you know how much money it costs to do both of those processes? And the price keeps going up. It is nearly $500 to get your green card and become a permanent resident. It is almost $800 to become the naturalized. And to be you can't just decide like, oh, I'm going to come here, I'm going to try to be a citizen. Even to get naturalized, you have to get the green card. So you have to spend what would now be the almost $500. You have to apply to get the green card. You have to apply to be a permanent resident. You have to pay the money. And then you have to be in the country for about, I think it's 10 years. No, I'm sorry. It's 5 years in the country working. Can't leave the country for more than 6 months. And then you can apply for naturalization. If you get married to a U.S. citizen, then it's 3 years instead of the 5. Crazier fact is that your green card doesn't expire for 10 years. So if I just spent a bunch of money to become a permanent resident and I get a Social Security number, and now I can do a tax refund, I can get a job, I can do everything I need, why would I pursue the process of naturalization when my green card doesn't even expire for 10 years? So halfway through, so boom, you come here, you get naturalized, you're here for 5 years, your green card don't expire for 10, but you're here for 5 years now, so now you can apply to be naturalized. Costs more money. My green card's not expired. Why am I going to go spend $800? I have to give up citizenship of my country that I'm from, and if I want to get it back, I have to reapply. That's more money. Not to mention getting naturalized is a long process. You have to study for it. You have to take a test. You have to take a U.S. citizenship test, which I don't even think that most Americans would pass. I have a degree in international relations and political science, and I'm telling you that most people would not pass the U.S. citizenship test. That also requires you to take off more of your personal time. So why would someone who is already here trying to make their wage, trying to earn their wage, even Americans born here we don't make livable wages. We're not paid adequately to compensate the cost of living with your wage. There's a huge disproportion there. And now you're deporting people, and you're saying and then you're raising these tariffs, and you're saying, well, American goods will not go up. How are American goods not going to go up if you're deporting the workforce in most of these cases? Or the workforce is choosing to leave instead of getting deported and being treated like animals. There's not a single U.S. good that works without something from somewhere else. The whole world is based on free trade. So even if, for example, let's talk about soybeans. Let's say the U.S. soybeans, right? One of the main things we export, okay? The soybean might be grown here, but the fertilizer is not from here. The system that waters that giant soybean field, the parts for the water or the sprinkler system are not from here. The water might be here, but like I said, let's say you have to make a whole irrigation system. None of the parts are made in America. So if the price of the fertilizer goes up, and the price of the irrigation parts and the irrigation system goes up, and the workforce has now depleted, and the parts in the factories, anything goes wrong, none of the parts in there are from America. So all of these things, now the cost went up. Your soybeans are going to go up. The price of whatever it is that was grown in America is going to go up, because everything that goes into growing that crop is not from here. And then now you want to sit here and he wants to go tariff for tariff with China. China already done found new places to buy their soybeans, which is one of our #1 exports to China. Who's going to buy these American soybeans? Don't nobody need them? Cattle, beef, things America grows, corn, they can all be outsourced to different countries. That's why there was a free trade agreement in place for everyone to grow what they grow and buy what they buy and compensate. You want to sit here, in the beginning he showed, and his tariffs are not even tariffs. They're a tax deficit. Yeah, countries are going to have deficit. We consume more than we put out. I feel like I went in a big circle. I do. I feel like I'm just so upset about all these things, because none of them are making sense. And people are supporting him and believing him and just being like so ignorant. And it's so hurtful, because you have so many Americans suffering, and he's just going to make it more difficult for people who are already not in the best position. And it's so easy for people to say negative things about people being deported. And it's so easy for people to say negative things about people who are here and haven't become citizens, as if that's such an like, some people come here and they work here and they might be naturalized and their green card expires, but they've been here for years. It's not at the top of their list. They don't have $500 available and a day off available. They don't have 10 days off available to take off to get naturalized. They don't have the time to study. So it's just so easy for people to say like, oh, well, you've been here for all these years and you didn't do. Why don't you hold your tongue? Because like I said, you wouldn't even be able to pass the test to be an American. And people who decide to come to this country and work and put their best efforts in and take nothing for granted, and you want to sit here and waste American dollars while children are hungry and old people are in need, and there are a million things that we could be focusing on, and start just sabotaging this country that has so many opportunities in place to do better, and he just chooses to do so much wrong. Ooh, and I just had to rant because it's such a difficult time, and it's so bothering, and I don't understand why everyone's not bothered. And I've been trying to like go inward. I've been trying to read more. I've been trying to just not be angry, right? Not an easy task. But, like I said, everything you do it for you. Try your best. Journal, read a book, do some deep breathing, walk outside. It's not so cold. I mean, I live in a warm place, but where it's cold, it's not so cold. Take advantage of the weather. Soak up some sun. Work on yourself. Work on yourself. Try to do your best. Try to be good to yourself. Be good to others. Be compassionate. Have empathy. Educate yourself on topics before you speak on them and just sound, so harsh and rude and, just lack of human decency. Just don't be that person in anyone's day. And I don't believe that I know anybody like that personally. And I'm blessed for that. But I do hope that you're all doing well. And like I said, everything you do it for you, whether it just be taking a nap, reading a book, whatever it is that you need to decompress, because the world is a little crazy right now. But, I didn't mean for it to be this long. I didn't mean for it to get out of hand. But I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe. Okay. Bye.